Hey everyone, hope you are all doing great. And yes, very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all who all are joining us globally. I am Parth Varu, Events and Program Manager for Microsoft Reactor India. And yes, I do welcome you all for our today's session with our own beloved MVP Rajendra. But yes, before we start our today's event, let's go through our code of conduct. We all are here to learn together, participate together. So please be respectful of other people's views, understanding the differences, be kind and considerate in a way we all engage. We do encourage you all to participate. Please drop all your questions in the comment section and we will pick it up from there. I would not like to delay further now. I have Rajendra already at the backstage and would like to welcome him. Hey, hi Rajendra, how are you?
Hi, Path. I'm good. How are you?
I'm all well, doing great.
Yeah.
Folks, Rajendra is a Microsoft MVP from Microsoft Data Platform, specializing in Power BI and MS Fabric. And currently, he's serving as a Power BI lead specialist within the engineering and tech lead team at Bosch. He brings extensive expertise in the field. He holds over 8 Microsoft certifications, including Fabric, Analytics Engineer, Power BI Analyst. He is also a Microsoft certified trainer. He is a very passionate contributor to the community. And yes, I do welcome him today. Thank you, Rajendra, for hosting this event. And yes, the floor is all yours. I think you're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry for that. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are located from all over the world. And first of all, I would like to thank Microsoft Reactor for giving this opportunity from Microsoft Reactor team, Path and Rashmita. They are continuously following, and we are conducting these events to educate or to present our topics. Thank you, Path. Thanks for giving this opportunity. And
Most welcome.
before getting delay, I would just like to give topic name: boosting performance in your SQL Server data warehouse using Microsoft Fabric. So in Microsoft Fabric, what kind of an activities we are going to take it forward, and performance wise, what are the things that we need to take in care? These things we are going to discuss already. Path already given an intro about myself. I just like to briefly I will provide myself. And I'm Rajendra Ongole. I'm a data platform MVP and a super user at Microsoft Fabric community platforms, where we will share the knowledge and get the knowledge from the community's part. And if you want to get in touch with me, on the right hand side, you can find me my social networking sites: LinkedIn, Twitter, Data Analytic Group, blogs. So you can reach me out if you have any queries on any of the topics, like on the Microsoft Fabric or Power BI related stuff. Before, like, without delay, I'll just try to showcase the content what we are going to discuss about it. So I will go in the slow manner. Maybe if you have any queries, concerns, please post it in the chat box, my sincere request, so that we will take those queries at the end, or maybe if it is urgent priority part, we will take it in middle also. So understanding the fabric warehouses and how it will be emerged and where it is, and how we are going to make use of this fabric environment with warehouse personas medley, and understanding about ETL, extract, transform, and loading activities. So what are the activities we will try to take in care on ETL part? And a special option is there: whenever if you can working on the fabric warehouses, we can also clone the existing table. So a kind of a replica of the data tables, we can do it maybe if you are creating a dedicated schemas for the project related. And also I will showcase you the loading strategies, what are the ways. So there are multiple approaches to inject the data so into the data warehouses. So I will showcase you in the Microsoft Fabric three of the approaches how we are going to inject the data into the data warehouses. And also, once our model is ready and everything is available, what kind of a semantic models we are going to make use of it, we will discuss about it. A crispy about a catching mechanism in Fabric data warehouse concept, we are going to discuss types of in-memory caches and so on, we are going to discuss about it. And troubleshooting options and benefits of, maybe if you can start making use of Microsoft Fabric, what are those benefits we can get it if you can moving on to the Microsoft Fabric environment. Along with it, maybe if I get time permits, I can showcase to you the whatever the model we are going to build it on the Power BI layer as well, from Microsoft Fabric to, warehouse to the Microsoft Power BI application in the cloud application itself. Fine. If you're observing, I'll just try to showcase to you, as I said, fundamentals. We will get started and then we will walk you through this demo as well for the data ingestion part. So first of all, let's try to understand the data warehouse fundamentals. So first of all, we need to keep in mind the things like data ingestion, what kind of a data we are trying to move, and what is available from the source side, and what kind of a processes we can try to make use of while doing the data ingestions, like how many approaches are there in the while doing the data ingestions, for that we have to keep in mind. And the data storage part, how the data will be get optimized and it will be get stored in data warehouses in Microsoft Fabric. So as I said, it will be get stored in the form of delta Parquet format file, like a delta Parquet format file. So delta is nothing but a storage layer where on the top of it Parquet files, the data will be get compressed and it will be get stored in the form of a Calmer data. So example, what is this storage mechanism in the sense? So I have a table with maybe 50 records, and in that with a name and some metric information, and I want to read that particular data information into my ingestion part, data loading part. Here the data will be get created the required information like a columnar storage format. So that means, example, if I have a 4 or 5 characters of a word, it will be all get treated in the form of a numeric, like a numbers, how many it is there, the structure format. So it does that kind of an optimization techniques, it will be get visible to you on the delta Parquet format file. It's a kind of a storage layer. As I said, delta is nothing but a storage layer. On the top of it, these files will be get stored on your source systems part. And then, as I said, the data processing part, the data will be get processed and finally it will be get ready for the further consumptions like AML models, or maybe if you can try to prepare that particular processed data to the reporting part, we can get it delivered via different visual insights by using the Power BI desktop, Power BI applications, which is already there in Microsoft Fabric. So just a brief about data warehouse fundamentals: data ingestion and storage, processing and data, and then get delivered to the front end applications like Power BI. Let's try to understand Microsoft Fabric warehouses. So if you're observing on the right hand side, a simple snapshot which I have provided to you, you can see here the data is completely get stored on the form of an one lake is in base platform, and on the top of it we can make use of a data warehouse, lake houses, even real-time analytics. If you're doing KQL databases are there, and even the Power BI application or real-time applications will be get provided. So one lake is a storage mechanism where the complete layer or data sources will be get incorporated in an unified management and governance platform. So you can create multiple workspaces in a dedicated environment once the Fabric license has been acquired, and from there either you can try to pick it from the data from a warehouse or lake houses. Maybe sometimes we'll get a queries like what is the difference between a warehouse and lake house. So in a warehouse you have a fully transaction SQL. You can write it, you can create the statements, you can do the DML statements, you can also transaction level statements also we can perform it. All the tree SQL statements will be get performed if you can make use of the warehouse. It's as simple as similar as like whoever familiar with SSMS, like Management Studio. So you can see a similar view like a schemas and the formations, login IDs and so, like roles, procedures, views and so on, the similar view. And coming to the lake house, it's something like maybe if you're working with a big data source system, big source systems, like maybe you use terabytes of data. which is unstructured or semi-structured kind of a thing. It will be have an option like a static, like select statement only. It's not going to have all the other mechanisms like modifications and so on. We can just try to read only options will be there. On the top of it, SQL endpoints part, we can do the further optimizations and techniques, which will be get allowed on the lake houses part. So it's a completely different warehouse and the lake houses, but both of this will be get stands on the one lake platform. Like that, as per the project to the project, we can get it created different workspaces to like workspace A, workspace B, and so on too. Like as I mentioned, telemetry data or real-time data get stuff will be get stored in the lake houses because it's going to be an unstructured. Real-time data should be something like most of the times we'll get it in the form of unstructured source systems. And the business KPIs part, we can try to make use of the further applications like as I said, Power BI desktop, and we'll try to build the data model with the help of the data click. We can fetch the data very fast to the Power BI applications too. Here, I just prepared a simple concept on the explanation, the differences part, how the data will be get stored. As I said, data warehouse in Microsoft Fabric is a completely storage, centralized storage area. We can try to work on like historical data. Most of the organizations, they can try to work on the SCD type tools like historical data they want, and also the current transaction data. In such kind of a scenario, we can try to make use of this centralized mechanism approach by using, which has been provided by Microsoft Fabric data warehouse concept as well. Think of it, if you are observing here, maybe if you want to get fill the complete data, very huge information, and I want to get it stored not in a lake houses, I want to get it stored the processed information in a lake house where I can try to build the reporting part, as well as even if I can try to take it forward to the advanced AML models too. And coming to the concepts for how it will be get stored. So tables, it will be get stored in the form of a rows and columns as I said. And the data warehouse level, it will be get completely transactional. So we can write the statements, we can even delete the that particular statements or data, or even we can try to write the stored procedures where we can try to get it execute for our modeling part. And lakehouse, as I just now we discussed, lakehouse and warehouses part. Lakehouse, it is going to store unstructured or raw data, completely raw data, which will be in a file source systems example, if you can consider. Our warehouse is completely a kind of a cleansed information, which is ready to further visualize it and take further decisions by using applications like Power BI. And direct integration with Power BI, as I said, we can, once the data, the structured information is available, the data will be directly passed via direct query, like we will call it as a direct query in Power BI desktop, but in the cloud application in Microsoft Fabric, we will call it as a direct lake, the concept part. So it will be faster retrieval, the data part. There is not going to store it some source system or somewhere. It will be all the information will be get stored in an one lake hub itself. And from there, we can try to pull the information to the application and we can see the real-time insights as well. And as I said, elastic and a scalability, maybe if our as organization needs, the data is not a static, it will be grow by day. So it will be auto, the enhancements part, it will be get managed automatically in the backend part and have an auto scale position on options as well once we can get start with our data warehouse creations part. As I said, ETL, extract, transform, unload. Whenever if you are trying to extract the data, check the connections. So how we are going to get it extract, whether you are directly pulling into the data warehouse, or maybe if you are trying to use an individual extractions, like maybe directly I can get connected to the Azure data pipeline, or maybe the Azure data flow gen 2 as well. So we'll try to extract the data first by connecting to the different source systems. So Microsoft, it is providing more than 100 plus source systems. We can get connected as per the project needs. And inside, we will try to perform the data cleanup or cleansing operations, like within the, so whether you can try to inject the data via data pipelines, we get the help of pipelines, as almost similar experience as like a data factory. We can perform the data cleansing operations like duplicates removal, or maybe if we want to generate some new columns, we can try to perform that. Or maybe as per the business, as per the working needs, if you are trying to make use of data flow gen 2, it has a similar experience as like online power query editor. We can try to bring the extract the data and we can perform inside, but it's not going to be on Power BI desktop. We will try to perform those activities of the cloud based application itself, data flow gen 2, and try to load those tables, whatever the fact tables, which is going to have some important metrics, and dimension tables, which is going to have some categorical and important description related informations too. And after that, we can start working on the performance optimization. So our topic main agenda here, boosting of the performance. So where we are going to work on this performance related activities once we can get start with our data warehouse building. So I will showcase to you where we need to work on it, and I also prepared a few slides related to it which will be helpful to you. Coming to the security, if you're observing, it's completely have, once the data warehouse my data is get available, it's completely have an advanced encryption role based access too. So we can try to define, maybe if you are working with a different multiple workspaces, and if you are trying to implement a role based on the report level, in such kind of a scenario, we can use role level security, which is already there in Power BI, and even the column level security or object level security will be get defined on Power BI applications part. And coming to the granular transaction SQL, so it's completely where we can try to write, as I mentioned, right, we can create the statements, we can modify it, we can even the delete the required information if it is not required. This completely granular information will be get provided. And coming to the data masking part, so as a real-time environments, sometimes the data will be get not showcased. Like example, take an example like a credit card. Maybe I want to share few of the information on the top and then cross mark, and last four digits I want to get it visualized. In such kind of a scenario, we can try to mask the data by writing the statements inside of your data warehouse. Like as I mentioned, masked is going to be an mask this particular email with some limited, like as I showcased to you, after login the user, you can see that information with the cross buttons. Maybe I want to grant a complete access the masked informations to some user, means we can grant it via unmasked commands too. So as I mentioned there, grant unmask as a particular employee so that they can try to view the complete information once the user will be get login. So you can see the right hand side how it looks like the once we can try to perform these activities on data warehouse level. So which will be very important in the security concerns part. Coming to the data loading strategies, so make sure that you're trying to move the raw data as per the business requirement, whether you're trying to get it extract the on-premises source system, or maybe if you are trying to extract external source systems, we just try to make sure that we have to get it load this information into the data warehouse. So if you are observing, just now we discussed about ETL part, extract, transformation, and load. So whenever if you can get start with the data warehouse extraction, there are four different ways to extract the data, inject the data into the data warehouse. So in that, we are going to discuss three approaches for today's event. So like I will try to showcase to creating the transaction SQL statements. Like we will try to create some tables and also we will insert the data. That is one way, manual instruction. But in real time, we will not do those things like extracting, I mean, inserting the tables and creating it directly into the warehouse. But I'm just trying to showcase to you one of the approach which is already there in the Microsoft Fabric. And the another way is we will also inject the data via data flow gen 2. So as I mentioned, which is as similar experience as like online power query data, where we will try to extract the data, inject it into this particular tables, and we will perform internally some transformation and load it into the further analysis like in the data warehouse. Whenever if you can start creating and loading the tables automatically, it will be triggered with a staging layer. So if you want that option to store our data in the staging, which is a temporary layer, we can store it, or we can directly also load the tables into the data warehouses. And another approach, so first one is, as I said, manual creation of the tables, inserting the data. Second approach is, as I said, data flow gen 2. And third approach, as we are going to discuss for today, data pipeline. So I'm going to extract data pipeline is similar, as I said, is a similar experience as like data factory. So we are going to extract one of the sales table, from Azure blob storage, or maybe I'll try to showcase to you the processing part, and then we will try to create a complete, after data extraction, we'll create the staging layer, as well as that particular table will be get visible to you into the data warehouse. So how it will be and so on, we will discuss. So three approaches we discussed, and what about the last approach? How we are going to inject the one more way. So there is one more option is there, cross data warehouse ingestion. So what is this cross data warehouse ingestion in the sense? So maybe I have already completed a project and the table is already available in the same workspace, and I want to reuse for the another warehouse builder. So in such kind of a scenario, I can try to reuse the same table as a kind of a subset of the table information to another projects too. That is nothing but a cross data warehouse ingestion. So the table is already available. How we are going to pick it up? Maybe if time permits, I can showcase to you the approach from the lake house or existing warehouses part, and we can try to build a lake warehouse as well, data warehouse part. And further, once the data get visible to you, and further analysis, like we can start building the reports, or maybe if you want to showcase in the form of a dashboards or advanced AML part, we can get it visualized as per the architecture which we are currently observing. But once the structure, the data will be get visible to you on the data warehouse and the proper schemas, then we can start doing the further advanced analysis as per the requirement. I mean, on the top of the final build. So maybe whoever familiar with Power BI part, once if you're extracting the multiple tables and you want to prepare a data model, in such kind of a scenario, whatever the tables that are available on the downstream mechanism, it should be, if you want to get it created a semantic model, like a table with another table connection, if you can see my downstream snot with the dimension customer, fact, sales order, and so on, it will be get created automatically. Sometimes, if you want to build our own semantic model with the required tables, not all the tables, maybe few tables, in such kind of a scenario, there is one more option name called semantic model build. So other than the default semantic model. So once I will open the application, I can showcase to you. So advantage is, maybe if you can try to make use of a default semantic model, all the tables will be get visible to you for further downstream of the reporting layer, and in the modeling part we can try to give the connections from one table to the another table accordingly. Maybe if you can try to choose a particular tables, in such kind of a scenario we can choose a semantic model designing, and from there we can also define the semantic model name, and we can create the required table information as a connection between one table to the another table. So we can also create the business requirements once, if you can moving out to the data modeling part and create the new measures and so on, and the modeling view in the Power BI services application. Once will we get open this data modeling activities, yes, there is no limitation, we can create it. Coming to the cache mechanism as a part of performances part, there are two types of a caches. If you can get start working on this fabric data warehouses, one is in memory cache utilization, which will be get stored and it will be get access as a faster, and it will be get stored in the columnar format as a set. Another approach is a disk cache storage approaches, which is going to consume some space. And if you're working with the larger models or larger semantic data sets, in such kind of a scenario, these caches designs will be get triggered automatically whenever, if you can working on the fabric, I mean building the data warehouse application in the Microsoft Fabric. That's why most of the time what we will do in the sense, maybe we can, if we want to do a group, or maybe if we want to join with one table to the another table, we can try to perform inside of your visual level query, or SQL statement option is also is there as a set. We can also use these statements internally. So as I said, options for the data ingestion. So first of three approaches we are going to discuss now. Like I'm going to create some other tables, and via data pipeline, which is as similar experience as like Azure Data Factory, I'm going to showcase to you with one of the extraction. And one more table via data flow gen 2, we will try to extract or fetch one of the table from the data flow gen 2. How this staging layer will be get created and so on and all will be get visible to you. And the last part, as I said, cross warehouse ingestion, cross which is nothing but already the data set is existed in the one of the workspace, and I want to reuse as a subset of the existing table in such kind of a scenario. Instead of, it's a traditional way of doing the data extraction, instead of duplicating the table and trying to pull. So we can make use of the existing workspace itself and make use of the new report, I mean new warehouse building and so on. These are the approaches, or how we are going to inject the data into the data warehouse. Fine. Maybe last I will discuss about the benefits of Fabric Warehouse. Before, we'll try to start working on, as I said, extractions. And also I'm going to showcase to you some new features which are available in Microsoft Fabric warehouse environment part. And then we'll discuss about the benefits as well. Let me jump onto the screen. So if you can get start working on this Microsoft Fabric, we need to have a trial account. If you're observing, I'm currently using the Fabric trial account. So anybody can register. We can try to enroll it with our on Microsoft accounts. We can just try with this Fabric trial for the 60 days. So here, first, we need to have a trial. After that, we need to have a dedicated workspace as well. So let me create, currently if you're observing, I'm in the Fabric environment. I will try to create a dedicated workspace for our current activity. Let me create a new workspace. Demo. So as I said, I'll just try to showcase to you. Here I'm using trial account. Apply it. Once the workspace created, you can see here at the top DWH demo. It will be look in this way. So fine, how we are going to get start with the data warehouse. So what is the process now? Here at the top, you can see the new items. If you're observing here, new items, just try to select it. You can see the different personas which are supported on the Microsoft Fabric environment, like a dashboards, you can get start with it. Or maybe if you're not building any data warehouse or something, maybe if you want to get start directly with the some extractions like Azure Data Pipeline or yeah, Azure Data Flow Gen 2s, we can make use of it like by using get data options too. But current our activity is we are going to build a data warehouse. Inside the data warehouse, as I said, we will try to extract the few of the tables via copy jobs. I mean, transaction SQL wise, we will write some statements. And also the second approach I'm going to showcase to you, data pipeline wise, I'm going to extract it. And the third approach is I'm going to showcase to you data flow gen 2 wise, I'm going to showcase the data extraction, and we'll see the performance activities too on the top of it. Let's try to showcase now. See here, you can search from here to if you want to find out that particular item, or maybe you can just try to observe here what are the application, what are the different tools and functionalities that are supported on your Microsoft Fabric environment. You can see this many options are there. Let me search it. Maybe I want to build a warehouse. You can try for the sample warehouses too, but as a part of learning, I've just tried to showcase to the current how I'm going to create a warehouse. You have to provide a proper naming convention to this. So let me provide like sales warehouse demo naming convention. Just make sure that. So as I said, once the warehouse created, you can see the canvas and the pop-ups, the complete screen as a similar experience as like SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio. So on the left-hand side, Explorer part, you can see the queries, shared queries, and your schemas, procedures, and everything on the left-hand side vertical pan, like Explorer part. And currently in the center, it's trying to create. So it will take some time as I'm currently using the trial license. Suppose maybe if you have a dedicated license like F2, F32, and F64, the faster is something different. And maybe sometimes network speed or bandwidth also depends. Maybe if you have any queries, please post it. See here, I just created the sales warehouse demo is the name. You can see on the left hand side is different schemas are there, like maybe by default schema is the DBO schema. Maybe if you want to get creative with a dedicated schema for your project, like maybe some organizations will maintain staging layer, enterprise data warehouse layer, pre load layer, like a pre-RDS data layer, and reporting definition layer, and so on. So we can try to create these schemas at this particular schema belt. By default, you are observing DBO schema. And maybe if you want to save this particular executed queries or created statements, we can try to save it. Your queries will be get visible to you on the my queries option. And if you want to share your queries with some other colleagues or something, means we can just try to make use of the share queries options too. So as I said, how we are going to inject the data. So here on the get data option, you can see two options like new data flow gen 2 or new data pipeline, which is, as I said, new data flow gen 2 is as similar experience as like online Power Query Editor. Data pipeline is as similar experience as like Azure Data Factory. So as I said, I will start creating some tables, but in real time, we will not create it. Maybe we have to get it extract or import it from some dedicated database systems or file source systems. But here, I'm just trying to showcase the functionality, how we are going to create the tables and how we are going to insert the data as well. So I'm using create table SQL option here. This is the view, SQL query one view. Here we can start writing the schema definition, or maybe if you want to write, create the new tables, we can write it. So as per the time permits, I have already written first the schema. Let me execute the schema first. Staging schema. You can directly execute it here. And on the left hand side, the schema will be get created, the staging schema you can see here, with a complete tables, views, functions, and stored procedure. Maybe if you want to execute some stored procedure for, I mean, like CD type 2 execution, like staging layer will be captures something like a temporary data, and it will be get deleted once it will move on to the data warehouse. So we can also create some processes accordingly. So let me create one more few more tables. So very simple statements. So here, if you're observing customer, product, city, and version, these are the four tables which I'm going to load it here. Load it. Staging is my schema name. You can see only the structure of this table. So once you see here, the fastest pass, 3 sentences has been executed within 3 seconds, and these are the tables which has with just a structure. There is no information. I just loaded with a structure. It will take some time. See here, ID, city name, and region, customer ID and customer name, product, and so on. So I'll just try to save this query for maybe the future prospect. Right click here, rename it, created tables, simple tables. And also I will try to load a random data as well into my warehouse, into the same staging layer, some data. Let me take another query. Here, from here, you can take it, new query SQL. New query SQL, let me remove it. Here, I will try to insert some data. If you're observing some partial data, randomly, I'm just trying to insert. So you can see here the customer ID with some names, product table with some records, product details, and the city details, and the version details too, with the actual budget and version. So let's try to load this information as well, and try to give a proper naming convention so that it's easy for us to reference, or maybe we can try to take it for the future references too. Insert or load, load it, data, tsql. The saved queries will be visible to you at the down part here. Here. Okay. Fine. Let's try to cross verify whether the table information is available or not. You can see here, product has been loaded with version with some records. It has been executed. You can see the faster, and maybe I had tried with one 1 GB of data, which is very, very faster in my one of my real-time project. I just want to share that information also with you. See here, these are the four tables which you are currently observing in our warehouse. That's fine. Then how we are going to extract the data for, as I said, sales table and another. If you are trying to working on the warehouse building, date table is a mandatory. So why date table is a mandatory means maybe if you want to cross verify the historical data, along with maybe I want to cross check the analysis for the previous years and the current year. In such kind of a scenario, we have to make sure that in our data models we have to prepare that date table should be visible to you or available. So here I'm going to extract two tables via other options like I'm going to use new data flow gen 2 for a sales table extraction and a new data pipeline for another table, time dimension table, time table. So let's try to showcase to you. First, let me showcase to you the new data pipeline wise. You have to give the naming conventions to this pipeline. Maybe let's try with sales itself. Sales different. Okay, I'm just giving the pipeline name is sales inject pipeline. Via pipeline, I'm trying the sales table, and maybe the timetable is very simple. Let me execute it via data flow. Is going to be open and another window. If you're observing, it's not the same warehouse window. On the left hand side, if you're observing, left hand side a home tab, this is the icon for the warehouse, and currently I have connected to the for a data ingestion data pipeline. So you can see the left hand side vertically sales inject pipeline. So here what are the steps we are trying to perform? All the steps will be visible to you on the left hand side vertically. Choose the data source system, connect to the source, choose the destination where you want to store the data, and also connect to the data destination via maybe I want to create it with the staging layer. I can do that activity here and review and save options. So where we can try to review the complete summary of where to where the source to the destination, how it is getting moved. The complete information will be visible to you in the form of an icon wise in the last stage. Fine. As I said, let's try to execute the data via says maybe SQL Server. I'm going to get connect to it. Let me provide server details. So whenever if you're trying to connect on premises, this is an on premises source system. Let me showcase to you the table as well. If you're observing the table, the sales table is visible to me in one of the database AdventureWorks DW 2019. So here my sales table is available, which is an on-premises source system dbo.sql. So I want to pull this on-premises SQL database to the cloud environment. So what are the things that we need to keep in mind? So whenever if you're extracting on premises to the cloud-based application, just try to cross-verify a few things like gateway should be configured. That is one standard gateway. Or maybe if you're trying for the testing part, you can just try to with personal gateway too. And another one is you have to get it configure the gateway with your name, the admin rule. Maybe there is some other admin means if you don't have a permissions to this gateway, you can see some errors notifications too. Just try to cross verify the gateway is having a proper access to you as well, okay, with your user IDs. Maybe already some administrators are there, and make sure that the gateway is up and running. So if you're observing, my gateway is up and running, it is ready to use. So let's try to extract it. I'm just trying to provide the server name, server details. Let me use the connection type. See here, on premises source system, click on next. Gateway is mandatory whenever if you're trying to connect on premises data source system, whether it is an SQL server, maybe if it is a Postgres, whatever. Just try to cross verify the gateway is up and running so that we can try to pull this information into your cloud-based applications. And as I said, permissions part where it is going to be visible to you. So maybe let me open a new screen where we need to get it added this permissions part. Let me showcase to you that. Gateway configurations part. Here Just try to cross verify you have an proper access on premises data management gateway. You can see here it is up and running. Okay, online. Fine. Let's try to find out our database AdventureWorks DW 2019. Click on next. So try to choose the database on that particular table, which table you want to extract that particular information into your data warehouse. Choose it. So as I said, it has already created with the DBO schema or the sales table. Let me showcase to you that dbo.sales table. You can see the data preview on the right hand side. It's a small table only. Select next. So here on the next part, connecting to the destination, it will ask you, do you want to store load it onto the existing table or it is a new table? Basically, we are doing the new project. It is not any existing table. It's a new table. Load it and try to change the schema because you have defined with a proper schema name. You can see in our schema part is a staging schema, right? Try to give the proper naming schema name sales dot staging dot sales table. And here the columnar mapping, maybe if some columns like a binaries and that particular columns, maybe subtables are available, you can delete that columns to here. And even we can try to change the data types too. So from the source to the destination, sometimes if the data types are different, we can change the data types here as per our requirement. So let's try to select next. You are observing the currently the column mapping. Next. So here, as I said, staging schema is by default it is enabled. You can see this. And I want to get it store this particular table information also in my one of the blob storage, blob container. In such kind of a scenario, I can try to get it configured. It's not directly like, cannot select directly like a next. You have to provide the staging account connections too. It is a mandatory. You can see here. If you can start creating a next, see here, direct copy of the warehouse to the copy command is not supported. Just try to choose where you want to get it stored. So I have already configured it. You can see here my blob account, MS Fabric storage. I want to get it stored in my one of the blob container here. Let me showcase to you that one of the container. It will taking time. So see here. Let me browse it from here. The path in the meantime. So see this. This is the folders in this blob. Maybe I want to get it stored in the database backup file. That is the path I'm trying to provide to store my information. It will be get stored in the form of these folder wise. Okay. And here one more option is there. You no need to use an any compressed option. If you can turn it, try to turn it on. It's already compressed information and it is already structured data source system. Don't use this enable compress option. Otherwise you will face an error at the, while executing the data pipeline. I'm just trying to selecting the next. You can see the complete view. So from where to where you're trying to transferring the data from source to the destination. Here, sorry, here. So from SQL Server, this is the table name dbo.sales. This is the staging layer where it will get stored. And last one is the destination. I want to store in my one of the warehouse staging.sales. Let's try to execute it. So on the performance prospect, once our model is ready, I'll just try to showcase to you a few important snapshots. I mean, data warehouse snapshot, new concept, which is available in the warehouse. Okay, and the performance prospect, what are the commands that we need to cross verify? Okay, you can see it is still executing, it is running there, hence per the notifications part. Let me up here. So currently, this particular copy command data from this source is your SQL Server to the destination. Destination is the staging.sales. And you can see the complete mapping details here on this preview. Data preview also it will be get visible to you. Maybe if you want to get creative with some parameters and some logging, the data storing logging, you can also configure from this logging, I mean enable logging options and staging logging options too. Still executed. Let me see. This table is visible to me or not. Let's try to observe here. Here, workspace. I'm just trying to refresh here. Yeah, you can see the table, that is sales table has been get loaded with these records. Okay, fine. Last one more table, as I said, the date dimension table. So I'm going to fetch it via data flow gen 2. So it just executed. You can see at the top right hand side top notifications too. Just keep an eye on this top notifications whether it has been succeeded or not. So otherwise we have to navigate to your workspace and just try to cross verify whether that particular person has been successfully completed the task or not. Here also we can try to monitor here. Okay, if there is any errors it will be get visible to you instantly. Fine. One more extraction which I'm going to showcase to you via data flow gen 2. So please observe here, get data flow gen 2. This time I will try to showcase the data extraction via blob. Okay, while doing the data extraction for the date and time table via data flow gen 2, I'm going to extract it, the data extraction via blob storage. Let me showcase to you that process. Let me give the name as extract date and time. Okay, create it. So as I said, it is as similar experience as like Power BI, Power Query Editor. So in Power BI Desktop, Power Query Editor, what are the views, what are the icons you are trying to observe? The similar options will be get visible to you on Data Flow Gen 2 too. You can see here, it's executing. So in the center, the quick connections you are observing, importing the data from Excel, on-premises SQL Server, or CSV, or import from existing data flows. So as I said, I'm going to extract the data via blob storage. Let me showcase to you that approach as well. What are the things that we need to keep in mind while extracting the data via blob storage? So few things are very important. We need to have an proper account, blob account, and we have to have a necessary permissions to get connect to this storage accounts. And also here you can see gateway is not a mandatory, it is not required. And connections part, we need to showcase what type of authentication method we are trying to make use of it. Most of the time we will use, as per the projects, SaaS account, shared access signature, which will be get valid, like example I'm saying 6 months, 6 months duration. After the renewal we have to change the password and we have to give the another SaaS tokens and so on. So most of the time we will use it. Other than that, organizations accounts are there, even the service principal account and account main person user IDs account as well, we can get it connect here. So date and timestamp, blob details there in my locally. 1 minute. So here I'm just trying to showcase to where we are going to get connected, edit the connections to you. So as I said, data management gateway is not required. SaaS token is mandatory. SaaS token is required to get connect to here. So just try to paste it one more time. Simple. If you, by default, it will not showcase to any connection. You have to create it as a new connection and then pass those credentials. And also, while giving the SaaS token, generating that link, you have to configure the container details, objects, and so on. Otherwise, you will not able to get import or extract that particular table or else a container. It will showcase the error as like a forbidden that particular path and so on. Okay. So the file is available in my data files. Here you can see here timetable is the form of a CSV file format. And parallelly, I'll just try to showcase to you clone, how we are going to clone the table. Okay. So whenever if you are doing the data extraction via data flow, there is no option to give a like as I said, we already created a staging schema, correct? So if you are extracting the data via data flow, we don't have a dedicated option like changing the schema name for a data flow gen 2. So we have to clone it. By default, it will be go on to the DBO schema, and then we have to clone it to the current schema, which we are currently using it as an staging schema. So here, I'll just try to rename instead of calling it as a data files timetable. And this is what I'm looking for, time.csv, extract it. So here, I'm not able to get it configured with staging. Currently, our schema design is staging layer, right? So here it will be get, by default, this particular table will be visible to you on the TBO schema now. So automatically these steps will be get added. And one more important thing, whenever if you're extracting the data via data flow gen 2, just try to cross verify your data destination. So just try to check it here, like what is your current workspace or the warehouse information, and how the data will be get added. Is that an append method or replace method? And one more thing, maybe if you want to get it deleted, this particular by default it is created, right? Here also we have an option to get provide the destination information. So you can see here by default destination. So maybe if you want to change the data destination to some other workspaces or some other warehouses, we can remove it. We can change the workspace name as well. So what I will do in this sense, as per the time constraint, I'm just try to publish this to the current warehouse, sales warehouse, publish it. Let me showcase to you that by default, this particular timetable is visible to you on the DBO schema, because it's one of the, maybe going forward, we will expect changing the schema definition in the data flows too. But as of now, it is not visible or else available to you. It will be get visible to you on the DBO schema part tables list. Let me check here. It's executing. And also just try to cross verify the notifications part 2. Okay, the top. Two ways, whatever you feel comfortable, just try to check it whether it has been successfully executed or is there any failure. So see here, the notification data flow has been executed. Let me navigate back to the warehouse, try to refresh. So cloning the table is something like it is trying to take the reference. Already table exists in the schema of DBO, and if you want to take it as a reference to some other schemas or some other references of the tables, in such kind of a scenarios we can use cloning. It's kind of replica, not a any info, I mean, like not like something, just a replica or not a duplicate. You can see here this particular table information timetable. So how we are going to clone this timetable to the current staging layer? It's as simple as easy. You can see here horizontal ellipse button is there. After the time, select it. I want to clone this table currently in the DBO. I want to provide the destination table to the, I mean, another schema, that is staging layer. Change it, give the proper name. Maybe I'll just try to give the date and time. And here, a table state is current table, and SQL statement also we can observe it. This is a table creation, staging clone table creation. Clone it. So as simple as easy, and the table is visible to you in this current schema here, date and time. Okay. And one more important features I've just tried to showcase to you, which has been recently added last few or maybe 15 days back. I haven't observed this. In this particular management part, they have added a new warehouse snapshot. Snapshot, as I said, a kind of a replica we can consider. Already the tables are existed. Maybe I want to use this current table or else a warehouse snapshot for some months, maybe some one particular month or maybe some days. In such kind of a scenario, to execute it, to write the statements or to further modify the statements or to create some procedures and so on, we can also use new warehouse snapshot. This is a new functionality. What happen if you can try to select this new warehouse snapshot? You can observe here, it captures the current warehouse which are just created with some tables with the staging, and it will get create any of the stage for the past 30 days. And we can start, as I mentioned, like we can write the statements, we can also build further fabric items on the data pipelines or further environments accordingly within the Microsoft Fabric. So this is a by default. Let me showcase to you one more. sales snapshot one. Okay, current, create it. So still there are some errors which I have observed it. Once it will be get created, initially we can see at the top some errors, but we can able to execute the statements and so on by using this SQL query option. Go to the warehouse snapshot. This is just a replica, right? As I said, you can see some error notification. Can't capture this date and capture warehouse with the. There are some problem, but it is already captured the table information. You can see. Let me capture the new state. Current capture. It's already captured. You can see the table informations too. Okay. So what is the benefit of using this? So as I said, we can start writing and executing the statements on this snapshot of this warehouse schema. And we can build further analysis accordingly by using this particular snapshot of this existing schema. Maybe if you want to build for the new projects or you want to try with some other AML models, just a kind of a replica, we can proceed accordingly. So let me close this one. Fine. As I said, whenever once our tables information everything is ready, we can make use of a default schema approach or a dedicated new semantic schema design also. We can proceed it accordingly. So I'll just try to showcase to you here, giving the name as uh, sales. We can select the required tables. So there is an advantage of new semantic model. We can create the semantic model name, and also we can select the required tables that are required to visualize to the further developments part. So the staging part, these are the tables. We can select few tables. Let me select like customer, product, and sales, and date and time. Let's try to go with this. Confirm it. And coming to the performance part, there are three things. Maybe as per the administration rule, they can have an access to dynamic movement views. Like we can also execute the complete what are the sessions that are executed, and we can view on this. Whoever want to see the complete sessions that are executing on this, who is having an access of administrator. Other than that, we have the DM views with session wise and DM views wise request wise. So number of sessions that are executing on each and every request level, active request level, we can observe it. That's going to have an access for only other roles. Like we already aware on Power BI, 4 different roles other than the admin, contributor, member, and viewer. Like a request and sessionized views, dynamic management views, we can view it via these objects like a requester and session objects. What are the latest or active sessions that are executing on the top of the engine? These sessions will be get executed visible. And another one is, as I said, the administrator, they can try to view the complete number of sessions that are executing in a warehouse part. So similar experience. So as I said, the models we have to build it on our own. So we have to give the connections and build the relationships accordingly. Let me quickly provide some connections, customer to customer. So write the new tables, new measures, all the DAX objects will be supported except new columns. So by default, when you are trying to give a connections relationship, you can see this one. Let's just try to, all the cardinalities are supported, all 4 types. So let's try to save it. Okay, and one more connection, and then I will showcase to you one different, I mean, performance prospect management views. So like this, we can give the connection and then we can start the data visualization on our reporting layer. So from here, we can get connect to the report. So one more table is there. Let's try to give the connection. Why we missed this? 1 second. Date to date. Any questions till now? Just a few minutes and then I will take if you have any questions. to this directly to the Power BI. Pass this data to this Power BI application is directly connecting to the warehouse and then passing the data into your Power BI application. That's what you can see at the top, the direct transfer, directly connection, the storage method is. So from here we can start creating the new report and we can build the visualizations too. And the last but not the least, I'll just try to showcase to you the commands part. What are those commands?
Hey, hi Rajendra. Yes. So
Visualize.
we have few questions. So let's take it at the end.
So to check the performances part, if you want to execute apply one is third one is one more is there, session request last connection is last few 1 minute and then uh, scheduler schedule. So as we already know, on the Power BI part we have an admin layer, contributor, member, and viewer. So admin is going to have a complete access. What are the number of sessions? It will be get revert back number of sessions that are executing on the data warehouse engine. They can view it. If they want to kill any of the executed sessions, means they can perform that activity. Can you hear me, Path?
Yes, I'm audible now. Sorry, there was some technical glitch, I guess.
Parth,
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Path, can you hear me?
Yep, yep, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So just now
Please
it
go
was
ahead.
disconnected, am I right? Okay.
Yep, yep, yep,
Okay,
yep,
fine.
yep.
Okay. So here I'm discussing about the best practices part. Once we completed this particular development, if you can observe this is the current model, and even I just showcased to the Power BI application how it looks like. Once from here we can try to navigate to the reporting layer. The performance aspect, a few things that we have to keep in mind. Who are the accessor part? So the complete control will be on the administrator, just like how we will define the workspace control, like administrator, contributor, member, and the viewer roles. So administrator can try to schedule, kill the continuously running sessions, or maybe they can try to check how the engine has been executed, the performance prospect and everything. And the remaining, like as I said, session and the requester, we can try to check it, like maybe other than the admin role, other priority roles like a contributor, member role and viewer role can try to check the number of sessions that are executed in each and every active number of workspaces. Like that it will be requested is something like it will be respond back how many number of activities that are executed in each and every workspaces. This is nothing but DMV, dynamic uh, moment views. So these are the three different ways we can try to segregate with four different roles. Admin is going to, maybe if the session is taking more time, he have an access to kill those roles too. So I'll just try to share this performance prospect. What are the things that we have to keep in mind? And one more thing, maybe if you are trying to make use of cross data warehouse ingestion, it just has like a CATS, create as a table on the existing warehouses part. So we can use the create CTAS, create table as selected object. So we can try to get it extract the subtables from the existing warehouse or existing workspaces too. And maybe if your model size is very big and transaction data is very big, we can try to subdivide it and we can try to load it onto the warehouses too. That is my sincere request, which I have, like we will face it on huge data bulk loading part and so on, as per the workloads which will be get trigger role, like huge information, and we'll try to definitely face some errors too. Such kind of a scenario, my suggestion is we can just try to split or divide the data sizes, split the information and try to move it or inject the data into the warehouses too. Fine. I'm done here. And if you have any questions, please raise your questions and let me know. Hope it is clear. Yeah. Other than the glitch. Path, you
Yeah,
there?
so we have very good questions here.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, okay, so the first question is
Okay.
the storage different from ADLS generation 2 in Azure here, the where or the lake house?
So here ADLS is for the data extractions part, where it is also get resides in the one lake hub only, one lake storage layer. So we are all familiar with the OneDrive, right? It's as similar as like a OneDrive is going to be a base layer for you. On the top of it, the data will be get resides on workspaces, or as I said, right, lake houses. So what is this lake houses means? Maybe if you're extracting the data from unstructured or semi-structured information, means the data will be get resides via extraction of lake houses. If you're extracting the data like a structured information, warehouse wise also we can get it stored. The advantage of here, we can write the statements, create it, delete. All the statements will be transaction fully pack of transactions, SQL statements will be get executed. Yeah, hope I have answered to you.
Yep. So Vinayak has a question asking like currently I am creating a snapshot of the database so that the data warehouse can perform ETL from the snapshot so that it does not impact the app. Does Azure support snapshot creation?
Currently, I haven't tried database level snapshot, but I have just showcased to you how the data warehouse snapshot. But still, there are some glitches which I already showcased to you. You have to select the current state of the data. That particular warehouse, or maybe the particular databases means we have to select the current state of the warehouse, and then we can make use of it in our day-to-day activities. But the snapshot part, two ways. One is from the database level snapshot, another one is the data warehouse level snapshot. Which one we are going to pick it up is the the rightful path.
Okay. So, and question from Suparna Babu asking like, why we need to store data in the staging layer? Do we have any advantages of it?
Advantages, as I said, right, Subhanu Babu, this is something like temporary layer. Maybe it's a kind of a simple backup. Suppose if you're not choosing that option, staging layer, maybe I want to see, maybe there is some issues the morning, some execution. I want to see what is the issues. If you are not saving that staging layer data, it will be get directly loaded into the data warehouse. So it is going to be a complete wrong information will be visible to you on the warehouse level. So that is the temporary part, so that we are trying to configure the staging also to some backup folder, or maybe if you're having an access to some database, we can try to get it configured to that backup database backup files and so on. But you can also delete it instead of reloading, I mean loading that same information on day-to-day basis. We can also provide some kind of a procedures to delete the staging data time to time. Hope I have answered to you.
Yes, I think with that again, Alberto has some similar question like, why would we want that additional layer if we already storage data in our warehouse
Hmm.
as a staging table? Why would we want also to store it in files in a blob storage?
Blob store, I just showcased to you where we are going to take it as a backup. So after some days, that backup file, as it's just like I said, right? Maybe if there is anything wrong, mismatch of the data, wrongly entered the data, to store that information only, we were trying to make it as a backup staging. So that is a kind of a temporary folder or else a layer which will be get incorporated. So you cannot load directly into the structured information which is occupied in our data warehouse. That's the main motto to enable that staging layer. Hope I have answered again. Yeah,
So I think
clear.
yes. So that's all we have. And Emmanuel has a question like, great job. Where can we find the copy of this best practice document? Like, I will be able to answer this. So this session is recorded, Emmanuel, and it's all over the YouTube. You can anytime visit the Microsoft Reactor YouTube channel and watch the session. And with that, let's call for a wrap, Rajendra.
Yeah,
So yes, thank you everyone for joining us today, and thank you so much, Rajendra, for
thank you.
this session. It was really exciting, and hope to see you all soon with our another part of the session. Thank you
Yeah,
all so much for joining us today once again.
thank you.
Thank you.